Hello and welcome to the Coal Authority podcast. The Coal Authority exists to make a better future for people and the environment in mining areas. We carry out vital work to keep people, drinking water and the environment safe from the legacy impacts of our mining heritage. These podcasts are intended to offer some insight into the work that we do and why we do it, and we hope that you will find them interesting, and we would welcome any suggestions for content for future podcasts as these series grow. Without further ado, let's get into the next episode. Thank you.
Hello, and a very warm welcome to our next episode of our Confidence in the Coalfield podcast series, a podcast where we bring industry professionals together to discuss our collaborative working and the value we bring to the surveyor community across the UK and those involved in the buying and selling of property or land for development in coalfield areas. In this particular podcast today, we're going to be focusing on the impacts of mine entries on property transactions to the conveyancing community. I'm Lisa Conway, Development Manager for Scotland, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Alison Penderleith, Director at CPD Essentials, who has over 15 years of experience in the surveying industry and has also plunged 10,000 feet from an aeroplane. We also have Steve Meredith, who is one of our mining consultant and information managers at the Coal Authority. And Steve has been with us for over 20 years and has a wealth of experience. And he's also a fully qualified mineral surveyor. So welcome to both of you.
Thanks, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hello. So starting with you, Alison, I'm really intrigued to hear a little bit more about your skydive. So tell us more.
Oh. In a moment of madness, I casually mentioned that I would like to do a parachute jump, and that it was on my bucket list. And so my husband bought it for me for Christmas.
Wow.
The following year, I mentioned diamonds, but that didn't work quite so well. But it was a fantastic experience. The scariest bit was going up in the little plane, but once I was out, it was absolutely amazing, and I would recommend it to everyone.
Fantastic. Did they do like a countdown for you when you're at the top?
Well, not really. I think it makes it worse, they just sort of, because you're strapped to somebody else, so you just sort of go out.
I'm very jealous, Alison. I've always wanted to do a skydive, and I actually booked to do one over a glacier in New Zealand. But when I turned up on the morning, the plane had a maintenance issue, so it had to be cancelled, and I was only in that area for one day. So I missed out. I'm very jealous.
Oh, what a shame.
Maybe one day.
Okay, so we're going to move back now to you, Alison, to tell us a bit more about your career and kind of how you got into CPD Essentials.
Well, it sort of happened by coincidence, really. I'd started a family and I was looking for part-time work. My husband's a surveyor, and in the local monthly magazine, there was a role advertised to look after surveyors in the Wessex area, which is Hampshire, Dorset and the Isle of Wight. It was home-based and it was perfect. The job quickly evolved as the RICS went through various changes, and I ended up being the event manager for the south of England. So after about 16 years, I decided to leave and set up on my own, as I believed that I could provide better, not necessarily better, but more cost-effective and relevant events for surveyors in the UK. It was quite a tricky decision, but I'm really pleased I made the move. I mean, obviously, COVID has taken its toll and a lot of CPD has moved online. But to me, in-person events are invaluable, not just for the networking opportunities they offer, but the ability to ask questions of the speakers, soak up ideas from other surveyors, and just take in more and have a fun time.
Really interesting that you've got some, all that experience behind you. And we've got quite a lot of experience in dealing with surveyors as well. And Steve sits in the mining information team, don't you, Steve?
Yeah, we've got quite a varied mining information team here at the Coal Authority. I work in a particular strand, but our team consists of about 20 people. and they're made up of, we've got ex-British coal, colliery surveyors, we've got geologists, we've got geotechnical people. It's quite a broad range of staff that make up our mining information department, and they're all very good at what they do. So it's very useful when we're dealing with the surveying community that we've got all that knowledge behind us.
And, you know, the Coal Authority has been around for, you know, best part of 3 decades now, since 1994, managing the legacy of coal mining. And we're here to make a better future for people in the environment in mining areas. And like I say, we've supported the surveyor industry for a number of years, and we've attended lots of the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyor events. It's a great opportunity to collaborate in the industry. You know, because it's a very niche subject, isn't it? Coal mining. So, and you know, as you will know, Alison, events are a great way to build new relationships and network, because you know the magic does happen at these events.
Absolutely. I mean, I've had a couple of live events in the last couple of weeks, and people have had such a good time and say how nice it is to be back.
Definitely.
It's good to see live events getting a bit more popular again after the COVID break. They do seem to be gathering some pace again now, don't they?
And which was the last event you've just done, Alison?
I did one in Oxford yesterday for 80 building surveyors, and I did one in Bristol the week before.
Excellent. And were they well attended events?
Yeah, they were quite well attended, which was great to see. So surveyors need to complete 20 hours a year of learning, and CPD Essentials runs both online and in-person events across the UK, and we cater for many areas of surveying. We also have a huge back catalogue of webinar recordings, and Lisa and Steve, it would be great if next year, maybe with the live events, you could attend some of them in relevant areas and talk about the issues we're discussing today.
Absolutely. We'd be thrilled to.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And we also discussed as well, haven't we, Alison, about perhaps putting on an event at the Coal Authority, because the magic really does happen where we can show people around our archives, and that's something that, you know, Steve, that's your happy place, isn't it? Let's be honest.
The archive definitely is my happy place. If the office is getting a bit too much, I like to go down to, we've got a National Archive standard plan store where the bulk of our collection, which is 120,000 original coal mining abandonment plans. I like to just go down and work there. The smell relaxes me.
No. I think that would be great. I think surveyors, they love practical examples like that. They're sort of generically practical people, and they really enjoy going out and touching and feeling real things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's plan heaven down there.
Stephen and Elaine from the Coal Authority actually did a fantastic video tour as well, which we put on social media a few weeks ago. So I will link that video just below this podcast, so people can sort of have a look at that from an interest perspective. And I think something else that people don't realise is, you know, the Coal Authority have over 176,000 recorded mine entries across the UK. 23,000 of which are in Scotland, you know, which is the area I kind of manage. And the team that I work in, the customer service and strategy team, provide coal mining reports to the legal profession. But also, you know, the surveying industry uses our Con 29Ms as well. So tell us a bit about the experience, Alison, that you've had with using our coal mining reports and the people that you work with.
Okay, I mean, surveyors understand that you are the primary source of current and future mine entries. But I mean, they're all highly experienced professionals, and they know from their experience if a property is in a mining area. But what they might not be quite so clear on is that there might be a capped off shaft in the back garden. And I think many of them do order a report as soon as they're instructed, to ensure that they are fully aware of any issues that they might encounter before they enter the property. But I think it's really helpful that they understand where they can get this information, exactly what the reports might tell them. what sort of area these reports cover, are there any future mining plans for the areas, and what sort of properties.
The reports are really useful. I mean, as well as the mine entries, obviously they tell you a lot more about licenses, open cast mining, underground mining. All the information we hold goes into those reports to make it as easily accessible for everyone.
Yeah,
I think as well, it's imperative that you've got those relationships with the right people. And us at the Coal Authority, and like Steve's been at the Coal Authority, is it for over 20 years now, Steve? You know a lot of people, don't you?
Well, yeah, I started on a 6-week temporary contract 22 years ago now. So I say I've worked across a lot of the departments in the authority, but I've definitely found my niche now in mining information. I've been there for 10 years. And yeah, we get information coming in from all different sources, and our mining GIS database is updated on a daily basis. A lot of people think about mining being old and historic, but we are still updating it every day with new information as we get it to make it as accurate as possible. The information we've got there, we don't do it to alarm people. We just put the information out there, so we don't try and prevent any development. It's just to make sure that if any development does go ahead, it goes ahead safely, with all the mining legacy issues taken into account.
Okay, so we are planning a bit of a webinar, aren't we, Alison, with you as well?
Yes, on the 6th of December.
6th of December, yes.
Yes, there'll be an hour-long webinar from Lisa and Steve, which will put the flesh on the bones of what we've talked about today, and be extremely helpful for any surveyor, not just those working in mining areas, but also anyone who's got an interest, and you never know when they might need it.
Well, I don't want to give too many spoilers away before the webinar, but I'll just give a bit of general background on the mine entry data set that we do hold here at the Coal Authority. You mentioned, Lisa, earlier that we've got about 176,000 mine entries on our system here, but a bit of a question for you both. Can either of you guess how many are within 1 metre of residential properties?
Gosh, I don't want to.
I'll put you out of your misery because it is a bit of a stab in the dark, but 21,000 are within 1 metre of residential properties, which is roughly about 12% of the entire data set. But that does seem like a bit of a large number, but I've got some statistics from our Public Safety and Substance Department, and over the last 10 years, we've only had 99 issues with a mine entry, and when you work that out, that's less than 0.1% of the entire data set. So statistically, the risk is extremely low. And let's face it, most of these features have been there for 100 years plus and have been lost to view over the years. But a lot of people have a very specific thought when you mention a mine entry to them. They often think of a big void just underneath the surface that's lurking there. But the reality is actually extremely different. When it comes to treating a mine entry after a colliery finishes working, generally you've got a lot of debris and rubble on the colliery surface, and you've got a big hole that's no longer being used. So invariably, the mine entries were filled with colliery spoil afterwards. So if you look at our data set, and we've got probably recorded treatment details for around 25% of the mine entries we know of.
And that's because of the 1872 Act, where it
Yes.
wasn't a legal requirement, wasn't it, to submit abandonment plans. So therefore, we don't know where those mine entries are before that date.
Well, yeah, it was a legal requirement to submit abandonment plans after 1872, but until the coal industry was nationalised in the 1940s, Lisa, there was no central repository for mining information. So before the 1940s, when a mine had finished working, how a mine entry was abandoned, as we say, when the colliery had finished working, it was just a local agreement between the colliery owner and the landowner. So that information was often lost. That's why we've not got it recorded. So I think the point I'm probably trying to make is just because we don't have any treatment details for a mine entry certainly doesn't mean it is still there as a gaping open void. Some treatment measures will have been applied to it, say normally filled with colliery spoil, but it's just that we don't have the specific details for that. And we do host a lot of this information. If you want to look at your local area, we've got the interactive viewer where the Coal Authority hosts a whole host of its information for free online. If you go into an internet engine and search for Coal Authority interactive map viewer, you'll get to that straight away. Alison, do the surveyors you work with, do you know if they're aware of our interactive viewer?
They didn't mention it. I mean, I recently spoke to a couple of surveyors from South Wales, and they said they'd recently surveyed a property which had 3 mine shafts, 2 in the garden and 1 under the house.
Wow.
And in that particular case, they did instruct a geologist. But I think, as I said before, they often request the Con 29 report before they start. And they certainly commended these and the information which is available, saying that these cover when they were filled, how they were filled, how much they've shrunk. And they allow them to do any necessary risk assessments and advise the purchaser accordingly. And interestingly, I asked them, I said, would you ever tell a purchaser not to buy a property near a mine entry? And they said, no, definitely not. But they would certainly consider everything that we've talked about today before submitting their reports.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned that the surveyors you talked to in South Wales have a seemingly relaxed attitude to the presence of mine entries near properties. The Coal Authority, in the conveyancing market at the moment, we're seeing a massive inconsistencies. Areas like South Wales, like we say, which is very heavily mined, the mine entries don't seem to be as much of an issue. And then you take other areas such as West Midlands, where there seems to be a real reluctance from some lenders to lend due to the presence of a mine entry. And then again, you move up to the northeast, where we don't have this issue again. It's I must admit, it does confuse me as to why there's such inconsistencies, especially when you consider the fact that in the slim likelihood that anything were to go wrong with a mine entry, everyone's fully covered under the Coal Mining Substance Act 1991. That's what the Coal Authority are here for. It's our statutory duty to make repairs to unlimited value at no costs to homeowners, lenders or conveyancers. So I think, yeah, I would encourage everyone to utilise the Coal Authority's knowledge and experience. Come and talk to us. We've got the interactive viewer, we've got the mining reports. We also do mine entry interpretive reports, which in some cases can be a really useful tool for reassuring lenders that the mine entry, although it's maybe within the 20-metre reporting distance that the Law Society sets, sometimes the theoretical zone of influence for that mine entry will not even hit the property. So they can be really useful.
Yeah, I think that's all hugely reassuring for surveyors, and I would always recommend that someone buying a house, not just in a coal mining area, does employ a chartered surveyor to do the survey and give them all the advice they need, and to have the reassurance of the Coal Authority providing all this fabulous information is hugely positive.
And as well, Alison, it's great that we're able to collaborate with yourself as well. Something that the Coal Authority is big on is working with others to create value. And it's an incredibly valuable thing that you're doing, and we're really thankful to be involved. So thank you for kind of reaching out to the Coal Authority in the first place.
Oh, no, thank you. It's a topic we haven't covered before, so it's I think there'll be a great deal of interest in it.
I would like to think so, because it is becoming quite a niche area of expertise, coal mining and mine entries. So the more people we can give this knowledge to and make them aware of it, the better, if you ask me.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to start to wrap the podcast up now. So I just wanted to say a massive thank you, Alison, for coming on today. It's been great getting to know you a bit more, and we're really looking forward to presenting our webinar as well. And thank you as well to you, Steve.
Thanks very much, Lisa. I look forward to you presenting the event on the 6th of December.
Can't wait. Thank you. Thank you both. And thank you everyone for listening.
So we hope you found that podcast interesting and insightful. As we've shown it on our social media channels, if you have any questions or further comments or any suggestions for future podcasts, we'd be really pleased to hear from you. So don't be afraid to get in touch. And we look forward to spending some time with you next time. Thank you.